So I wanted to change things up just a little bit today, since I'm still really not able to squat or deadlift. I've still been having pretty good amount of pains in my glutes, and so I just want to try to avoid that for the time being. Went ahead and did the regular barbell bench press today. 4 sets at 45 was really no problem at all. I'm getting a lot stronger at this movement, feeling better with it pretty much every time that I do it. And I'm hoping that I'm in the right of the right mindset that this is going to have some positive carryover to my actual barbell bench press, and I'll be able to do that more strongly than I have in the past. And I'm banking on that being the case because this requires a little bit more work with the actual muscle itself, with stabilization and everything. And doing each arm individually just takes more work to do. So it makes a bilateral movement, like doing actual bench press, a little bit easier. And I'm focusing on developing the pectorals specifically by doing this, and hoping that it has good progression in terms of the development for it. I only did the two chest exercises I have been doing today, just dumbbell bench press and then the dumbbell chest flies. But it's a start. I am looking forward to adding some more things. I'm going to add a couple more on Saturday and kind of add a little bit of variety to what I'm doing. Just kind of change things up a little bit, but I think I'm going to keep the dumbbell presses in every session just because it's something I can afford to do at least twice a week, and I want to be able to keep that pressing motion going well and growing. Outside of that, I did some shoulder exercises today. So I mixed in a few things just with a little bit of variety. So I did upright rows, Arnold presses, and then oh my God, what's the last one that I did? Upright rows, Arnold presses, and shrugs. And I did the upright rows just starting at 60 pounds. I did them in 4 sets at 12, 10, 8, and 8 reps with a wider grip to kind of focus a little bit more on the traps. And I really don't know if I have too much to be concerned about with my traps. My traps are fairly strong from doing all the deadlifts that I do. That 60 pounds is pretty effortless. But it does get a little hairy by the end, but I end up doing 65 pounds on the last set. So I think historically my best on this has been like 80 pounds. So I could imagine once I get used to the movement, that should soar up pretty quickly in terms of what is on the bar. But it'll just kind of take some getting used to, and it'll at least be a good trap engagement and replacement of the of doing deadlifts. It just felt good though. There wasn't really anything that was kind of crazy or super difficult to do. The Arnold presses I ended up doing with fat grips on the third and fourth sets. That was pretty nice, and I actually used those on the fourth set of the dumbbell flies that I did. And to be honest, I was a little concerned about trying them just because I wasn't sure how they would feel and if I'd be able to really even do the sets with them. And they actually felt really good. I think that's something I might keep in every set going forward, just because I'm not really able to train my grip conventionally, through deadlifts, because I'm not doing them at the moment. And having this ability to train my grip with something that really seems so minimal really adds a lot to it for me, just because I take kind of pride in how strong my grip is relative to my overall strength, and I want to be able to maintain that. So it'd be nice to be able to gain grip strength at a time when I'm not able to do deadlifts, especially when I'm trying to build up, my arms and my chest to kind of help even things out a little bit, because my physique is extremely lower body heavy. I've got pretty massive legs compared to pretty much everything else in my body. My chest is pretty small. My arms are not too big, but my legs are very well developed. My glutes are very well developed. My lower back's in pretty good shape, but you really don't see that, because that's under your shirt. But chest and arms definitely do show, and they are something that I've always kind of neglected in comparison to my legs. So hoping this really kind of helps bring them up in comparison to them, gives me like a more well-rounded physique. Again, I've never really been concerned about aesthetics of it, but just kind of the overall strength would definitely be nice to have evened up. Outside of that, I'm probably going to do some different shoulder exercises on Saturday. Not exactly sure what, but I know that I at least want to include something like face pulls, maybe some seated dumbbell pressing, just to get that overhead press movement with the dumbbells in. Maybe something like I don't know. I have to think it over. Just some different things that I can do to help with that. I know that the face pulls really help with the traps. The dumbbell presses will obviously target the shoulders directly. And I think I want to have at least one more shoulder specific exercise, something maybe like front raises or even lateral raises or even both. I could superset them and really kind of turn up the heat a little bit. So I think that sounds like a pretty good mix. Having something like dumbbell presses, maybe push-ups with lateral raises, front raises, and overhead press, seated dumbbell press, and face pulls would be a pretty good mix. Though maybe I'd have to at least with, yeah, I think that would work. Especially supersetting the different raises would probably produce some pretty good results for me. It'll help kind of round out the entirety of the shoulder itself, to where I'm training every part of it and not really neglecting any other portion. And yeah, it's probably going to be a little rough when I do it for the first time, but I think that'll work out really well. These are kind of nice because they really help target two parts of the shoulder, or the delt. It helps work on the top and the side delts, and just makes that a little bit more well-rounded. The 20 pounds is very light for me. I wanted to start out light just to make sure that I had the movement down. I think in the past I've done these at like 40 pounds, but they're also a lot harder to do with my loadable dumbbells than they are with just actual dumbbells, just given the size of them. It really forces me out into a wider, more compromised position than what you would normally get doing something like actual, fixed dumbbells. So I don't know. Maybe I'll go buy a set of heavier dumbbells. Maybe I'll just kind of get over it and use the loadable dumbbells and do like one hand at a time. However, it's a little bit harder because this provides symmetry with the lift and allows you to feel more balanced. Whenever you do these with one hand at a time, I always feel like I'm being pulled to that one side, and I have a lot of difficulty actually doing that. I guess I misremembered. I only did the fat grips for the last set. Or no, they are on there. I did the fat grips on this set, and it just felt really nice. I wanted to see how I looked from the side view, and at least everything's moving in concert. I'm not like lagging behind with my one hand or the other. Everything's moving together, which has always been a concern of mine, to try to keep things moving well. Outside of that, I don't know. These went really well, but I did them in sets of 12, 10, 8, and 8. So I think I'll probably do them in 4 sets of 12 next week and just really kind of drive home those heavier reps, or, the higher reps rather, to promote just a little bit more growth. And I may reduce the rest time depending on how it goes. Right now I've just been doing 90 seconds between all of these sets, and it's going fairly well. I might just drop it down to a minute and kind of go from there. Decided to do some trap bar shoulders or barbell shrugs with the fat grips. The 135 felt really easy, so I decided to bump this up to 155 afterwards. And oh my God. Again, just with training the grip, these fat grips are something else. This 155 was difficult. My right hand, which my right arm in general is a little bit weaker than my left, was definitely starting to tire out by the end of this set, and then really felt it in the end of the third, fourth, and fifth sets, to the point that I really wasn't even sure if I was going to finish the fifth set, just because of how tired my hand was getting, and I just laser focused my mind and just like over gripped the hell out of it, which is good to be able to hold on to that barbell to do these sets or do these reps. And one thing I did notice too is that I was pumping my knees just a little bit to get it up, and that's ultimately fine. I'm not like pushing the weight up too much, but I really am focusing on making sure I'm getting that full pull and range of motion with the traps and controlling the weight coming down, because I don't want that crashing down, because you're losing half that movement, especially with something that's so minuscule. You're losing a lot if you're allowing yourself just to drop the weight and then get into a position to start the next rep. And it can even push you into a lower position by pulling you down a little bit and kind of compromising that. You can see it on my face right there, though. I was definitely really working to be able to keep that weight up and in my hands. And this last set, I remember being a little bit hairy, just around, I think, like the 8th or 9th rep, and I was really having to just buckle down and focus on gripping hard and pulling that through. So 155 was good. I can probably do a little bit heavier, but I really want to work on this. This is definitely a good grip exercise, and this one I think is going to be a mainstay for what I'm doing. I can definitely see myself doing these on dumbbells, but I would probably need to have either actual like fixed dumbbells or a lot more 10-pound weights than what I have now to be able to justify getting or having that weight higher up in the dumbbells without having the bigger plates on there, which just take up so much more room against your body and make it more difficult to actually use them effectively. This is a very fun day. I really didn't like get too sweaty or anything, which is kind of surprising given how I usually am whenever I exercise. But I felt, well worked. My shoulders and traps are a little bit tired right now. It's been a couple hours since I finished, but it felt good. I feel really good with how things went, and I'm looking forward to doing another chest and shoulder day on Saturday.